greatest voice of all times. Period. That's it.
Show your love for Belinda Davis.
For me, Whitney is everything. Yeah. Great artist. Legendary.
That was the moment we've been waiting for.
Welcome to the Late Night Show. Hope everything is okay. Hope everything is all right. I'm your host, Andrew Dick. Okie dokie, kids, what's happening on the lovely island of St. Martin? We begin with the news of some district news. I know I've been covering that story from the beginning. And apparently, some really strange things is happening in the Ministry of TEATT. Now, I ain't even talking about the dismissal of the Chief Cabinet. The chef of cabinet by the Ministry of TEATT, the Honorable Krisha Heliger Martin. I thought she get enough quotas during the budget debate, but it looked like she liked the drama because Krisha has been sending inspectors, TEATT inspectors, to go around the District 721 restaurant where it was, because it's shut down, so where it is located, across from Cappuccino. And the inspectors are going around with a petition against the business. Let me say that again. The TEATT Ministry, Economic Affairs inspectors, the inspectors who's supposed to be inspecting, are going around like errand boys with a petition to stop the opening of the reopening of district. And I didn't believe it. But when I saw the proof, video, audio, business owners ready to tell people publicly that yes, inspectors came to their business in Simpson Bay and Colby, because before the bridge is Colby, right? So they went around all the way down the strip and they're asking owners to sign the petition against district from opening because to them, they just want to make sure they do their due diligence. Now, I know you're thinking like, okay, but Andrew, what's the big deal? So the way that the government's supposed to work is they're supposed to work for you. That's why they're civil servants, because they're there to help civil servants. Nothing buzzing. So these people who are supposed to be inspecting and making sure that they have their business up to par is going against a local business trying to reopen that employs locals and foreigners. A business that is supposed to be for who? The public and the tourists. The same tourists we're trying to attract to St. Martin. But in the meantime, we're making it difficult for investors to actually invest into the economy because this is a type of malice. This is a type of ugliness that continues to happen with this government, particularly the Minister of TEATT. Because before, it was district put in for a new permit because the old permit is because you burned down, so you got put in for a new permit. And I promise that as soon as you put in for a new permit, we're going to expedite it and we're going to make sure that you can reopen and continue business because we don't want to hamper the business. We're here to help. That was Krisha Heiliger in December, November, October. Now, she said it's going to be done because there's so much craziness happening at the Economic Affairs Department. So it's going to happen. But now, behind our backs, he's busy going to different businesses and asking for a signature to make sure the business doesn't open. Krisha, this is Martin, everybody gonna find out. Dios. Anyway, I hope we're supposed to have some court case happening this week. I hope they get to fix this situation because government is just not doing what it's supposed to do. So you have to force them by bringing them to court and telling them, okay, tell me yes or no. And then if you tell me no, you better have a goddamn good reason. You better have a good reason, Krisha. The owners around? That can't work. You know why that can't work, Krisha? Just letting you know. Because there's videos and audio. There's videos of these inspectors going with a petition from district. Right there. Proof. So, do what you want with that information. But in the meantime, you know who's stalling the process. For businesses in St. Martin, a minister who's supposed to work for businesses, for the people, is doing it the complete opposite. She's doing it because, yeah, I don't like them. They don't want to pay me under the table. I'm going to close them down. Very simple, right? Okay. In other news, the budget 2025 was discussed last week. It was passed unanimously. 14 members of parliament voted for. Of course, we have 50 members of parliament. Ludie de Weaver was on a medical leave. So she didn't get to vote, she didn't get to go to the meeting, the final meeting. However, 14 members voted for the budget, so therefore everything should be fine, right? Wrong! Why? Because there is a split in our lovely parliament when it comes to independentistas and people who want to hold a referendum. For those in the back who don't know what a referendum is, it's just basically a question you bring to the public, the people, like how you just go to the polls to vote for the politicians. This time you're going to vote on whether you want independence or not. That's going to be the options. Independence or no. We okay where we is. That's it. So, a motion was tabled by the former Minister of Romy and the leader of the National Alliance, Egbert Doran. And during the presentation, 7 members of Parliament voted for, after the motion was read and voted on. 7 members voted for and 7 against. So what we're going to do is, let's see where these people are when it comes to referendum. But before we go into that, it's important that we start from where we began. And with, of course, the founder of St. Martin, it's easy to find because she did thousands of interviews over the thousands of years that she's been in politics. So obviously, we have some footage. So, Sarah Westcott Williams, from 3 years ago, how do you feel about independence and the relationship we have with the kingdom? This is from 3 years ago.
To me, it simply sounds like Pilate, washing his hands from the verdict of deciding whether Jesus should be killed or not. But also, I guess it makes it even more difficult of a choice because, the question is, should I just stay in this system which I have problems with, or should we call for another referendum, kind of not necessarily pause what's taking place, but determine, will we go it alone? And is that something that we should put forward now? I mean, especially.
And I think that's those kind of Sorry, Raf.
No, I would just say with a decade basically passing since 10. Should we call for a referendum?
And that's a question. And I advocated before 2020 that 2020 would have been a good time to basically look at the past decade of country St. Martin. Look at it in a very objective way. The fact is, I understand that we couldn't do that, Ralph. We couldn't do it. The whole COVID situation that basically had everyone. But I think we still need to assess, like, okay, what do we have, and how is it functioning? I mean, we're talking 10 years, and rather than this kind of little piecemeal, type of operation, the whole decolonization, and okay, what, and my question is, and I've said it before, Ralph, I think even in speaking to you, so do the proponents of decolonization see this as a way to get a new status, but within the kingdom, a status where, for example, this Article 43 and the governor are no longer there? Is that what we are trying to achieve? Then you need to sit with the same ones who you are. You see what I'm saying? So for me, it's important to know, what do we really want? What do we want? Generally speaking, with our status, what do we want with this decolonization drive? Do we want to shame the Netherlands, shame the kingdom, and feel that that's going to make them act differently? Or we want to? That's the thing, Because, it's a difficult time to be having that discussion when on one hand you're actually with your hand out, and they're coming with all the conditions that, according to them, to safeguard their funds, and it's their taxpayer. These are, and the arguments, but they're right.
Sarah Westcott Williams, from 2 years ago, how do you feel about independence or our relationship with the Dutch state? Talk to me, Sarah.
And every time you get a tranche, because now they're looking at the next tranche, because after a lot of back and forth, first you had a thing with the UN. When it came to liquidity, a petition, Parliament sends a petition to the UN, or on behalf of Parliament, a petition was sent to the UN. The Dutch government then tells the Prime Minister, but how you could be negotiating with us in good faith, but your Parliament sends a petition to the UN. So then the government of St. Martin and the Parliament needed to kind of backtrack and say, well, the petition ain't what it sounds and looks like. They had to backtrack. Now they backtrack. Now they're trying via a different route to still come to this decolonization. If the government of St. Martin Oral feels that decolonization, whatever they understand on the decolonization is the way for St. Martin to go, then make up your mind as a government and tell the people, tell the Dutch government that's what you want. You know, but you can't be playing this cat and mouse game inside of the coalition and then think that, well, you're outsmarting everybody else. That's what they thought with a petition to the UN. They're going to leave the government, so leave the prime minister, have to negotiate the liquidity with the Dutch, but in the meantime, the parliament going to send a petition to the UN.
We have some very smart politicians in St. Martin.
Sometimes too smart for themselves. And all of this going on, and then they had to backtrack. And now during the budget debate, you issue basically it was an ultimatum. The first motion drafted regarding decolonization to the prime minister was an ultimatum. It was an ultimatum. And then the coalition sort of quickly got its act together, and they rephrased that motion. And now they say Parliament. So I'm waiting to hear what Parliament is going to make and send to the government and tell the government they have to execute it. But you know, Oral, the people of St. Martin are so. I don't even want to say tired.
They are tired.
But and you know, and they don't want this. People want to know, where are we going as a country? You know, what can the government do for us? You had the issue of the assistance, the food voucher, food program. I mean, Oral, the same Dutch government told them from before it stopped at the end of April that it was going to be extended. It took months before they could have signed that off with the St. Martin government and the Dutch government. But these are the things that matter to people. You know, and we there about the decolonization and who doing what, and they're going to give the prime minister an ultimatum, and your own coalition. Get your act together, go somewhere, sit together and decide this is what we're going to do or we're not going to do. And when you do that, then you tell the Dutch government, although we're negotiating with you regarding liquidity, this is what we are going to be doing for our constitutional future.
Sarah Westcott Williams, during the 2025 budget debate on Friday.
Our Constitution is as clear as can be where it pertains to a referendum and organizing a referendum, and where the initiative for a referendum lies. Furthermore, like the minister stated, there must be a national ordinance regarding the referendum. And in this context, I want to apprise you, Madam Chair Lady, my colleagues, and the general public of an article written just in September of 2024 by a former politician of the Netherlands Antilles, Mr. Alex Rosario, on the issue of Curacao not having a referendum ordinance. And the title of his article is Living Dangerously. Not having established what do we want to achieve with a referendum. I will share that article. I also want to refer, talking about government's opinion, Madam Chair Lady, on a referendum, I also want to refer my colleagues and everyone listening to the statement of the former Prime Minister of St. Martin, and that is of April 2023. And the former Prime Minister, in the capacity of Prime Minister, stated the following, and I quote, St. Martin should attain a level of financial independence where it can take care of itself and its people before striving for actual independence, end of quote. Although the Prime Minister stated that to be her personal view, she stated it at a press briefing of the government of St. Martin in the capacity of Prime Minister. So...
Oh, they got some more against. Get ready now. Let me go all the against together. Let's go.
MP Veronica Jansen-Webster. Against.
MP Viren Kotai.
Against.
MP Demar Labega.
Against.
MP Rayan Peterson.
Tegen.
MP Sarah Westcott Williams.
Against.
MP Christopher Waver.
Against.
Chairlady Shamira Roseberg.
Against.
So you see that? You see the traitors? Reason why I call them traitors is because, again, ladies and gentlemen, this referendum is for the government to prepare a referendum. That's it. So it's not for us to go independence. It's not for us to be like the best islands. No, 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 no. It's just for us to organize a referendum in 2026 or 2028, 2029, after 2027, after 4 years, basically. And then we just, you know, we could even add it to the ballot. Come on, guys. But anyway, it was stalled because it's 7-7. That means it's deadlocked. That means it goes over to the next meeting. If it's 7-7 again, then it goes over to another meeting. And then based on that meeting, whoever is there is when they're going to decide. And if it's still tied, then it's not carried. Your rest of this referendum business, and then they motivate themselves. So we're going to get to that. All right, stay with us. Commercial break. When we come back, more highlights of your 2025 budget. Guess what? I got an idea. It's amazing. You see how we have the link sharing all everywhere?
QR link,
the
yeah.
QR link.
Yeah.
Raw Caribbean Channel app. You're welcome. Put it in the back.
But it's not an app though. It's not an app. App you have to like download something to get it on your phone, take up space. It's not an app.
It's like an app. Therefore, it can be an app. So, it's an app. Raw Caribbean TV app. Say it with me, Al. Come on.
It's not an app though. All you gotta do with that, it's a link. You take the link, you hit the bookmark, you say add to home screen, and so it shows up like an app icon, but it's not an app though.
Are you a real person? It is an app because you get to watch all the programs from Raw Caribbean at one place. It is an app.
I don't know how to explain this to you, but factually and technically, it's not an app. Kind of like we do the news, facts,
Yeah.
and you do that thing you do.
Whoa.
Point being, you just go to the QR, you hit bookmarks, and you hit add to home screen, and then you can have the link to, let's give it another name.
The app.
You want to call it the app?
Raw Caribbean TV app.
Jess.
Yes.
Jess, please, give some sense, Jess. Jess.
It's kind of like an app.
That's why she gets the big bucks.
It's not an app, though. It's not a app. What the It's not a app.
Ooh, you kiss your mother with her mouth? My God. Watch Raw Caribbean TV app.
Watch Raw Caribbean TV app.
Yes.
It's not an app, though.
All right, let's continue our coverage of the 2025 budget. A lot of things came out. A lot of politicians spoke. Members of Parliament, they went in, and some motions were accepted, some was against. You have an outline of all the motions that was presented here on your screen right now. As you can see, the different motions were presented, amendments were made, money was put aside for other things, you know, the usual. Let me go in the highlights.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I have heard from both sides of the table, and although both sides make valid points, I looked at the resolution and it urges the government to begin the preparatory processes. So, Madam Chair, I'll start today and end my motivation with a quote that says, "You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start to change where you end." Madam Chair, I say this because at the end of the day, at some point, we have to allow the people of this country to decide. Process is everything indeed, but when do we start? Madam Chair, history is a bit of context as well. In 2018, the Netherlands became the first democratic country to abolish the referendum legislation. Within 3 years, from 2015 to 2018, why? It was a way for the public and the people, and I quote, to demonstrate whether they are for political and parliament legislation. We are hearing outcries from our people. We are making legislations indeed, but are the people really involved? So, Madam Chair, processes and all of that is good, but I am prepared today to start to change the ending. And Madam Chair, I hear my colleague before me speak about the danger and so forth, and I'll end by saying this. A nation which can prefer disgrace to danger is not only prepared for a master, but deserves one. Madam Chair, this will have my support. Thank you.
When I established the SOA Legal Action Movement in the Articles of Incorporation, as a matter of fact, the first article in the Articles of Incorporation of the SOA Legal Action Movement is to seek full independence for St. Martin. Every country has a right, I believe, to seek their full right to determine their own destiny. How we get there is one thing. I believe that it's something that has to be done responsibly. I believe that all of the ducks must be in the row, and of course, ultimately, the people will have to decide. Now, I've been also in the political arena for a very long time. And I also can see a political curveball, recognize a political curveball when I see one. If indeed the presentation of this motion is as such, I think this is not something that you will play with the future of St. Martin, There's a saying, and it says, wise is the people that plant a tree that know that they will never benefit from the shade of that tree. This is the position that we are in right now. The right to self-determination is in each and every one of our hands. What we do with it is up to us. There is no such thing as a democratic deficit. You are either free or you're not. It is as simple as that, because the countries that are independent, United States, Holland, St. Kitts, Antigua, Dominica, they don't speak of a democratic deficit. So as a fundamental right, we have to ask ourselves and look at ourselves and say, can we ask ourselves if we are satisfied as to where we are right now? Yes or no? I thank you.
Emancipate yourself from mental slavery, because none but ourselves can free our mind. Madam Chair, I've been around for a little while, but I've done a lot of reading, a lot of research, and one thing for sure, before preparing to come into public service, I make sure I had to know who the players were in order for me to know how to maneuver. We've been talking about this. When I say we as a people, I'm talking Netherlands Antilles before 1986 when Aruba attained their separate status. It was a big discussion in the 2000 referendum, and it has been a discussion. And that's all it has been, Madam Chair, a discussion. So when I sit here and I hear some colleagues talk about more time, do it the right way, do this, do that, I believe in doing things the right way, Madam Chair. But the motion simply urges the government to begin preparations for a referendum. A referendum does not equal independence, Madam Chair. It equals the opportunity to listen to the voice of the people, hear the pulse of the people so that we know how our people want to move forward, Madam Chair. Obviously, those that try to create an issue with this, they are comfortable in the situation that we are in. Yet on different forums, we talk about democratic deficit and this and that, we need to do this and we need to do that. I agree. But today, here today, because when the MP presented a motion, I saw a lot of shocked faces. But sometimes you need to shake the room in order to make a difference, Madam Chair. And I believe that this motion is doing just that, allowing the people to express their concerns. Madam Chair, it always seems impossible until it's done. And one thing I can say, based on the quote of Harriet Tubman, I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more, only if they knew that they were slaves. Thank you, and I will definitely be supporting this motion for the people of St. Martin.
Time for another commercial break. When we come back, more late night. Stay with us.
And I fall on my knee. Tell me how's the way to be. Tell me how's the way to go. Tell me all that I should know. And I fall on my knee. Tell me how's the way to go. Tell me how's the way to be. To evoke some empathy. And I fall on my knee. Tell me how's the way to go. Tell me how's the way to see. Show me all that I could be.
Hello, my people. Make sure you tune in to Sit, Sip, and Chat every Monday at 5 p.m. on TV 15 and every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m.
And make sure tune in to the Late Night Show with Andrew Dick from Monday to Friday at 10 p.m. with a repeat in the afternoon for no reason. In the afternoon, the Late Night Show at 3 p.m. Thank you, TV 15.
Thank you, TV 15. Make sure to tune in
Make sure to tune in to the Late Night.
and Sit, Sip, and Chat.
Late Night.
For over 50 years, we've understood the power of connection. Back when connecting St. Martin to the world seemed impossible, we made it possible. From pioneering international calling to introducing digital mobile services and laying the foundations for fiber optic technology, we've kept you connected wherever life or business takes you. And through it all, we've proudly supported the vibrant culture, traditions, and people that make St. Martin unique. But that's not where our journey ends. It's where it starts again. With a brand new commitment to connecting you, we've been working tirelessly behind the scenes to improve our services and bring you a better, more reliable network. We've restored the SMPR1 fiber cable that connects St. Martin to the world, ensuring faster speeds and greater stability. Our mobile platforms are being upgraded, and we've expanded our mobile coverage so you can stay connected wherever you go. Our new customer service system is easier to use and more efficient than ever. Plus, we're continuing to expand our fiber network, bringing you the most advanced internet available. But beyond pioneering technology, we're committed to uplifting our community, because this is our home too. That's why we provide free connectivity to many schools across St. Martin, equipping the next generation with the tools to connect, learn, and grow. At TELIM, proudly local, we're here for today, tomorrow, and every milestone ahead.
More highlights of your 2025 budget debate.
Good afternoon to the people of St. Martin. Good afternoon to the honorable members of Parliament. Good afternoon to the ministers present of the council. I will not
the highest bid, not to secure the necessary funding. That is what I tried to clarify. As for the question on what other avenues are being explored, for example, with APS and SZV, through you, Madam Chair, by means of strategizing, I use the phrase PPP, which is a possibility by setting up a SPV with a consortium or private party of choice to be able to purchase Mullet Bay with the intent to have it developed. This can, of course, directly or indirectly include the institutions mentioned, but not a guarantee, meaning that one of the consortium members or the consortium itself can use APS or SZV or others, not only for the purchase, but also for the future development of Mullet Bay. I move on to questions by MP Arian. What specific line item was used in finance? Through you, Madam Chair, the specific line item was listed under projects and activities. This was a collaborative effort between the ministries. Finance supported the initiative from TEATT. No funds were transferred to the Ministry of TEATT, therefore no budget amendment is required. Did the government receive the concession fee from the harbor? Through you, Madam Chair, the government has received the full concession fee for 2024. And that concludes my answers to the clarification questions. Thank you.
Before I go over to the next minister, I'm seeing that MP Irian, a question. I am here, the one that decides the order. Please, I'm asking for your indulgence. You explain that a question has been missed. A question that you have asked. What is that question? Please stand.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The question was regarding the outstanding fees to the harbor. So I know the regular concession, but the outstanding that was mentioned in the answer, was there any additional fees that came in from the port that was owed to government?
Thank you, MP. Minister, could you answer that question, seeing that that question was already asked?
To be honest, I don't believe that question was initially asked. It was only about the concession, and I responded to that in clarity.
So that's the answer of the Minister of Finance. I hereby continue with the next minister in line. Prime Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Coming to the question from MP Otley about my personal, about if I'm pro or contra cannabis. If you look back to the recording, the intention I had was with the topic of cannabis, and that is what I said twice while I was giving my vision on it, is it's not about being pro or contra. It's about, I think, my task to actually give the community in general, also the MPs, the helicopter view on this topic. And that is what I did in my explanation. And I think that my personal opinion is not the intention why I spoke about cannabis. And I think it's about concern about healthcare, warning for us to be well prepared if we continue with this. So it is not about my personal opinion. Coming to a statement made by MP York concerning my opinion of the casinos. That position I will take after having an extreme discussion with my coalition. Thank you, Chair Lady.
Before I continue, I'm seeing that MP York has, what is your request, MP York? The question was not answered, questions were not answered. Which question are you referring to, MP York?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I asked the Minister a very direct question. I understand that he has to caucus, the Minister has to caucus with his Council pertaining to the Council of Ministers stance, but I asked the Minister, Prime Minister, for his personal stance, the same way he shared it about cannabis.
Prime Minister, could you answer that question that was asked by the MP?
My personal stance is that I'm going to discuss it first in the coalition.
I now continue with the next minister in line. Before I do so, I'm seeing that MP Otley would like to make use of his last interruption. MP Otley, you have
Thank you.
the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Prime Minister, thank you for your elaborate explanation. That was not the question. It just was a simple, straight yes or no. Are you for the cannabis legislation? That's all I asked, yes or no?
Prime Minister, seeing that it's members, Prime Minister, seeing that it is an interruption, I give you the moment to answer the interruption, what your answer is to the interruption of MP Otley.
Madam Chair, the answer has been given already. Thank you very much.
I continue with the Minister of TEATT for the answers in the second round posed by the members of Parliament. Clarification, sorry.
Good afternoon.
You have the floor.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair Lady. Can you hear me clearly? Because I think sometimes this is, yeah? Yes? Good afternoon, Madam Chair Lady. Good afternoon to everyone. I have two members of Parliament that seek clarification in the second round, and the first one is from MP Egbert Duran. And the Parliament, his clarification is stated that the Parliament being told a public document cannot be provided to Parliament. Through you, Madam Chair Lady, I would like to clearly state that for the record that my response was as follows: to not avoid any breach of confidentiality, I will discuss the request with the promoter prior to providing a copy to Parliament via the confidential route. Once confirmed, we will share as mentioned. It's not that I don't want to share it, I just need to confirm with the promoter, and I haven't been able to do that. Next, the other clarification is if the advice was ready for decision-making and was it vetted by the Secretariat. The advice was prepared for Soul Beach initially. The advice that was initially prepared for Soul Beach was not decision-ready as expressed by COM. More clarity was required at that point in time to allow for the sound decision-making. However, the second time, when said advice was presented to COM, it was decision-ready, and the COM agreed to move forward accordingly.
Before you continue, Minister of TEATT, I give the floor to MP Duran for his last interruption. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I've been around a little while, not as long as two seniors that are here in the room, also MP Irian, but this is the senior parliamentarian, so let me be clear. I've never seen such behavior where simple documentation is being requested and a clear, blatant effort to avoid being transparent with members of parliament is kind of being supported, in my opinion, by the presidium. I'm going to leave it there because the document that the minister just referenced in stating that she has to check with the promoter does not dictate public funds, Madam Chair. If a document or payment was received by someone, it is the obligation of the government to share it with the minister, with the members of parliament that requested. So, Madam Chair, I've asked for documents from Vromi. I heard there's a big bunch it's coming in. From TEATT, I've been told it's private. I don't know where we're going as a country if this is a behavior that is going to be tolerated here. Thank you.
Before I give the minister the option to answer the clarification, I do want to make it clear that the sender of a document can decide if a document is confidential or not. That being said, you have the floor to answer the interruption.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. And as the sender of said document, I will discuss with the promoter and go through to avoid any breach of confidentiality. And if that is clear, I will be presenting it to Parliament. I'm not saying that I won't. I just said I need to just do a little background check prior to doing that. But it will be sent. There's nothing to hide in the document, not from my person, but I will make sure that everything is, my P's and Q's are up to date, and I'll send it. Then next clarification comes from MP Artwell Arian. Relevant ministers go through we asked the relevant ministers to go through the video and provide info, specifically the money contribution of the port coming from concession, the advance payment and outstanding. As stated in the response provided earlier, the funds came from the 2024 budget. Let me emphasize once more that there were no additional payments by the port for concession payments. As per December 2024, the port owed a total of 15 million guilders. Interestingly, based on the line of the MP's questioning, especially this specific one, I have a good idea where the MP's information is coming from. There's only one person who held that particular belief, however, was mistaken and unfortunately provided incorrect information. For future reference, through you, Madam Chair Lady, my advice to the MP is to always fact-check all information coming from that particular person. Next question, or clarification. The total value of Soul Beach is over 5 million guilders. Clarify the total request of Soul Beach to see what government has committed to. How are we going to pay the overtime for police, and where is it reflected in the budget? In order to determine the exact cost of overtime for police officers is heavily dependent on the factors such as scheduling and locations of events, numbers of attendees. As we are in the preliminary stages of establishing an interministerial work group, it is too early in the stage to estimate the exact amount of overtime. Considering that the draft budget 2025 was already far along the process and the opportunity for Soul Beach came around, we seized the opportunity to do the great value it brings to the economy. So if the need arises for adjustments for overtime, this will be addressed in the budget amendment. Next clarification, was this a closed-door invited bid? Where was the ad placed? This is, I think, regarding the revitalization master plan. Yes, it was a closed bid request, and as such, is possible based on the procurement policy. There was no ad placed. The total value for the master plan, for the beautification project. To clarify, the contract for the master plan does not cover the execution of the implementation. It is solely for the development of the plan. And as I stated before, the exact amount cannot be divulged. However, to provide some information, the total value is below 50,000 guilders. In conclusion, Madam Chair Lady, I would like to extend a heartfelt gratitude for the opportunity to present the 2025 budget to my ministry, TEATT. This debate has proven to be fruitful in various ways, and I truly appreciate the direct suggestions from some of the members provided. Even those who may have intended to offer insights have unwittingly shared valuable perspectives that have enriched our decisions. For that, I am grateful to each and every one. This debate has been a real eye-opener for me. However, I must address some concerns regarding questions posed during this debate that were solely based on hearsay and innuendos. It is crucial for all of us to reflect on our roles in uplifting our islands rather than diminishing it. I have noticed with some concern that certain narratives seem to have emerged that not only align with the reality of our efforts, it is essential that we rely on accurate information, as some has interests that do not truly represent the facts at hand. Accusations as insinuating that I may have taken a bribe in exchange for waiving fees are not only false, but detrimental to our collective progress. This kind of negativity only hinders our nation's growth. I would like to highlight the recent discussions surrounding the Soul Beach Festival. Despite following proper procedures, some members of Parliament seem more focused on their image with supporters than making positive contribution to the island. This festival was brought back home after 30 years and has the potential to contribute tens of millions of dollars annually to our economy. Imagine searching for Soul Beach Music Festival online and seeing only negative headlines. I urge all members to carefully consider the impact of their words. Negative headlines and statements from visitors who may have negative experience can significantly damage our island's image and deter potential tourists. Imagine it coming from our own members of Parliament. So I urge all members of Parliament I'm trying to close off. Can I close off?
Finish your sentence.
I urge you all to look into the mirror and ask yourselves, are you part of the solution or part of the problem that restricts our island's potential on the international stage? It is concerning when individuals prioritize their personal acclaim over the greater good for our community. We have a tremendous opportunity to affect change on St. Martin, and we must seize it on this hollow floor. And lastly, I would like to express my gratitude to my cabinet, the Secretary General of TEATT, the management team, and the entire support staff for their tireless efforts through our long nights of deliberations. Your unwavering determination is commendable, and to the people of St. Martin, thank you for your support. I look forward to serving each and every one of you the best of my abilities, and we strive to ensure that our economy thrives and prosperity is felt by all. Today we can make St. Martin the greatest place on earth in every way, shape, or form. Thank you, Madam Chair Lady, and I will now close for the clarification round for round two.
Thank you, Minister of TEATT. I'm seeing that MP York is requesting the floor. For what reason, MP York? Is het persoonlijk?
Ja, het is een persoonlijke feit.
And what do you believe that the persoonlijke feit is?
Saying that my faction is the only faction that questioned anything pertaining to lottery fees, and the minister a while ago has said that we insinuated that she took a bribe, including myself. I would like to make clear, I nor my faction ever insinuated or said that the Minister of TEATT took any bribes. Thank you.
Noted, MP York. I haven't heard the minister mentioning any names, so therefore I will continue with the next minister in line, and that is Minister of... Is there no more clarifications? Answer the clarification? No, that is not the case. So therefore... The Minister of Romy, I will adjourn the meeting for 2 minutes. Meeting adjourned, 2 minutes.
That is it for Late Night Show. Thank you so much for watching. Until tomorrow, do have a safe and pleasant one. And don't forget, like, subscribe our YouTube and Facebook for the latest. Bye-bye.